If hate is the only thing pushing you forward right now, listen closely, because this might be the moment that changes everything. That fire you feel, the one that comes from proving them wrong, from resentment, from anger, from being overlooked, it burns hot, it burns loud, and it burns fast. And if you don't hear anything else I say today, hear this. Hate can start the engine, but it can't take you where you're trying to go. Hate, other people's opinions, and external views can only fuel you for so long. It's temporary fuel. While it's burning, it feels unstoppable. You wake up early, you work harder, you feel invincible. It's like jet fuel, explosive, powerful, addictive. You feel on top of the world because finally you're moving. Finally, you're doing something. Finally, you feel alive. But just like jet fuel, it burns quick. And nobody talks about what happens after. Nobody warns you about the silence when that fire fades. Nobody tells you how empty it feels when the thing that was driving you no longer exists. At first, you think something is wrong with you. You start asking, why am I not as disciplined anymore? Why don't I feel the same hunger? Why did I slow down? And that's where shame creeps in. You feel ashamed that your progress stalled. Ashamed that you don't feel as intense as you once did. Disappointed that the version of you who was grinding relentlessly feels so far away. You start telling yourself you've gotten weaker, softer, lazier, but that's not the truth. The truth is simpler and a little bit harder to accept. The fuel you were running on ran out. You weren't chasing the goal for yourself. You were running from something, from judgment, from rejection, from the version of you that felt invisible, disrespected, or not enough. And when that external pressure fades, when people stop doubting you, when the hate quiets down, you're left standing there asking, now what? That's the moment most people quit. Not because they don't want their goals anymore, but because they never learned how to move without pain pushing them forward. Here's the shift that changes everything. Long-term goals stop feeling impossible the moment you stop using hate as your primary fuel source. When you make yourself the center of the reason you're chasing something, progress becomes sustainable, quiet, consistent, real. Because now, even when nobody's watching, even when nobody's criticizing, even when there's nothing to prove, you still show up. There's a huge difference between intensity and commitment. Hate gives you intensity. It gives you that spike of energy that makes you feel powerful. But commitment? Commitment comes from self-respect. Commitment is choosing to continue even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when it doesn't feel cinematic. Hate screams, but purpose whispers, and most people never slow down enough to hear it. Think about it. Get shredded in the gym because it's something you want to achieve, not because you think it'll finally make people respect you. Train your body because you want to feel strong in your own skin, not because you're trying to silence an insecurity. Be disciplined because it aligns with who you want to be, not because you're afraid of who you'll be if you stop. And be kind because it brings you peace, not just because it brightens someone else's day, even though that's a beautiful side effect. When you live like this, your progress no longer depends on someone else's behavior. Hate makes everything external. Your motivation rises and falls based on what people say, how they treat you, how the world responds to you, and that's exhausting. You're handing the steering wheel of your life to people who don't even know where you're trying to go. But when you shift inward, when you decide, I do this because it matters to me, something powerful happens. Your goals stop feeling fragile. They stop feeling like they'll collapse the moment you lose momentum. They become part of who you are, not just something you're chasing. And here's the part nobody warns you about. When you stop using hate as fuel, things might feel quieter at first, less dramatic, less intense, and that can feel scary. You might mistake peace for weakness. You might think you're losing your edge. You're not. You're upgrading your engine. You're moving from something that burns you out to something that carries you forward. Because the real danger of hate isn't just that it runs out, it's that it leaves you hollow. It teaches you to associate progress with pain. It convinces you that you can only move forward when you're angry, hurt, or rejected. And that's no way to live. You don't need to suffer to succeed. You don't need to hate yourself or the world to become great. You need a reason that still exists on the days when everything feels calm. When you put yourself at the center of your goals, you stop needing permission to continue. You stop waiting for someone to doubt you so you can feel motivated again. You stop chasing validation and start building a life that actually feels like yours. And the irony is, this version of you, this grounded, self-driven, internally motivated version, this is the version that goes further than the one fueled by rage ever could. So if you're feeling empty right now, if the fire that once drove you has gone quiet, don't panic. Don't shame yourself. Don't assume you've lost something. You're not broken. You're being invited to evolve, to find a deeper fuel, one that doesn't depend on hate, one that doesn't disappear when the noise fades, one that comes from choosing yourself every single day. Hate can light the match, but if you want to go the distance, you need something that burns steady, something that lasts, and that something has to come from within. Thank you for watching.